just have to learn from my mistakes. You don't know the half of it. I wish I could slow down these thoughts in my head. Have I been misread? Will the world pass by if I can't hold on? What should I do when I don't feel strong? I just wanna be here for now. What if I let go and just lose control? How do I find out what means the most? I just wanna be here for now. What do I do? How do I stay here? Gotta find you before it all disappears. What do I do? I'm feeling like a soul out of body, stuck on the outside looking in. When I slow down, I wonder if I'll be stumbling around waiting for the end. If our sky doesn't have a limit, then there won't need to be a finish. I wanna be in the life I'm living. Maybe I'm already winning. Will the world pass by if I can't hold on? What should I do when I don't feel strong? I just wanna be here for now. What if I let go and just lose control? How do I find out what means the most? I just wanna be here for now. What do I do? How do I stay here? Gotta find you before it all disappears. What do I do? How do I stay here? Gotta find you before it all disappears. What do I do? Gotta find you before it all disappears.
Tries to hold on to the bottom. Here comes Gisette. They make contact. They touch once, twice, 3 times.
Foul trouble! Oh, no, Rocky into the wall. Big crash front straightaway. Huge crash coming into the triangle. No, Rocky up and into the air. They're beating and banging. Burn the bottom. Cosman up top. Cosman, I think. No. Breyer by 1/1000th of a second. Joseph now at the line. Thunhorse pulls the win out at the stripe. Oh, he saves it. What's going to happen here? Here comes the canvas. Get your foot in. He got it. He's got it. He's got it. The canvas is going to win.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the 11th annual WINSTEL 400 qualifying here on FTF.GG. I'm Brandon Cruz Monsivice. Alongside me, Emily Howe, who is also helping this event go along, helping with the purse and everything, and Parker Alexander. Guys, this is the first time this race one of the longest events on the iRacing service is going to Daytona 2011, no longer on the bumpy 2007 track. What's the biggest storyline coming in here? I think it's Alex Kolnick's trying to defend his qualifying domination of having the pole the last 2 years in a row, but that's just one of many entering tonight. Emily, how are you doing tonight?
I'm definitely good. Excited to qualify once again and be in the booth tonight. Definitely, what you said, the big storyline is going to be Daytona, or the fact that we have switched from Daytona 2007 to Daytona 2011. That's going to change the racing pretty significantly compared to what we've seen over the past 10 years, and really make qualifying a race to the thousands. I wouldn't be surprised if the qualifying order was set by a tie for the top position or two that we don't get to see out of the 4 decimal point range.
And Parker, what are you looking at entering tonight's event?
It's basically just following up with what Emily said. You know, that it's obviously the first time we haven't done this race at bumpy Daytona, and obviously the field spread in at least in practice it was very close, like Emily said. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. It's going to be close. Obviously, you know, Collins coming in here trying to defend his title, and you got about about 40 other people trying to snatch that away from him. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, you mentioned a close battle in practice. Jonathan Hernandez and Garrett Lowe were your 2 fastest cars. We saw that top practice time change quite a bit. Right now on track, it's Olivia Hayward, a first-time contender in the WINSTEL 400, trying to make her first start here. Each year, this has come down to, it hasn't been tense, it's been hundreds of seconds, and I think the most important thing starting these laps is really that roll out of pit road. You are allowed to spin your tires, you just can't like stop and do donuts and stuff like that. So we're going to see people trying to gain heat in the tires. I think we're going to see the pole won and lost leaving pit road, to be honest with you.
Of course, to win the pole, you have to have a steady wheel, and you got to hold it tight to that yellow line, and you can let it drift up a little bit coming out of the corners, as we see Olivia Hayward coming out to finish her not first lap. You only get 1 lap. So here she is coming to the line to complete her lap, and it's a 46.828. Not a bad lap.
Not a bad lap indeed. Sorry, Emily. I just wanted to say right now that Olivia wasn't able to do a practice lap here, so we're using her 46.82 as a good estimate. I think right now that's probably going to put her around 18th or 19th, because we're going to see some flying cars later in this event, but certainly a good run to start off.
Yep, definitely see the 48 of John Schwartz hit the track. Obviously, the 828 would not be top of the charts in practice, but as we all know, the track will change between sessions, so we really don't know what the baseline is for the session. Talking about lines, obviously the race off pit road is important, but also your theories when it comes to, you know, how you set up getting to the line and how you get off the corners. Like we saw Garrett in practice go all the way to the wall off the corners and all the way to the wall on this to start his lap. Whereas a lot of guys will hold it right down to the yellow line on corner exit, depending on how you kind of want to prioritize whether having the momentum or cutting off laps on shorter distance.
Yeah, you also got to think about how the draft is affecting you against the wall. Like, you don't just want to run right against the wall during your warm-up lap because you're going to be killing speed. It's a delicate balance on a razor's edge of where you want to be. Pretty much putting your left side tires right in between that white line and that seam in the corners, I think, is still going to be useful here in qualifying, just as I think that's going to end up being the dominant line in the races tomorrow and the main event on Sunday.
John Schwartz wrapping that yellow line and then drifting up a little bit in the back straightaway, trying to get a good entry into turn 3 here.
Yeah, not having to deal with the bumps at this old track, but we're still seeing guys move up and down the track a little bit. Also, you know, first time up in a broadcast booth in an hour, nearly a year. I'll stop talking over you guys, don't worry.
These things happen. As John Schwartz puts down a 46.771. That'll take him to the top of the charts.
Like the next car in her 78 Domino's machine. I think a contender to certainly qualify in the heat races tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to necessarily be a person that we see fighting for the lead in the heats, but I do believe that Lilac will end up qualifying for the main event.
That's a very good point. I always feel like near the end of a race, you can always, most of the time, you can count on her being up front through some way of luck or just driving on up there. And these restricted plate races, it's something I seem to notice a lot. So hopefully she can get some luck, because let's be real, we're all going to need it this weekend, and you see her in the big show.
Yeah, Lilac is definitely one of my picks as a solid sleeper on the plate tracks. You know, she's led a lot of laps, EA How 500, and all the test races we've done, she's kind of sneakily been at the front, but not really made much noise. So she goes off into turn number 1 here. 192 her speed if she enters turn number 1. That's going to be very important to keep up your momentum and speed.
Going back to previous years qualifying on this track or at Daytona for this event, do we want to try and follow the mile per hour at the line coming to her or coming to the green on these drivers? Because I think they're nearly almost always going to be at 190, 191. I don't think we're going to see some giant shift, but we can also use that as a good estimate of where these times are going to come in once we start getting, 10, 15, 20 drivers on the track.
Certainly, that's always my biggest thing that I look at is what speed you're going at the line, because that's really determine how fast you're going to be running that whole lap, because as we talked about, getting off pit road and getting that warm-up lap is really where your run comes from. We're pretty much all running identical lines for the most part once we get to the start-finish line.
As Lilac sets down a 46.796, that'll put her P2 behind John Schwartz and in front of Olivia Hayward.
One thing that I saw with Lilac as she came across the line, she ended up being kind of pushed up towards the start-finish line. You are allowed to go below the yellow line coming through the apron, and that's another aspect as well. I mean, I was saying that I think the pole is going to be one leaving pit lane, but it also can be lost if you go to the apron too early and you end up pushing, or you end up putting too much wheel into the corner coming into your lap. So, look, I know it's Daytona. A lot of people kind of sleep on, this isn't important, I don't need this, but so much practice, so much time and effort has gone into this week for multiple drivers. Like I know Evan, Nicholas Doucette, a lot of drivers have put hours and hours trying to get this pole position.
Yeah, I mean, I know Alex, last year he told me he ran about 200 laps of qualifying before he set his lap. And I'm sure it'll be the same this year. Alex will absolutely be the one to spend hours and hours trying to get his qualifying perfect, and it always shows at these races.
Of course, last year Alex set his pole in pretty dominating fashion, if I remember. But if you remember the year before, kind of won it by happenstance. He of course went out to do a lap, and Brennan did not clear these black flags, and he got to go out there, do another run, and he absolutely nailed it and put it on the pole. And I believe he knocked off Brennan for the pole too.
I think he did. I can't remember if that was due to a black flag issue or an iRacing issue. Either way, that started his dominance. He had a mulligan got that thrown out, and then has not given up the pole position. And we do have a story on Alex once he gets out there and stuff, focusing more on how the races have ended up playing out for him. But I'm telling you, him getting the pole 2 times in a row is just as impressive as Blake Reynolds becoming the first 2-time champion last year of this event.
Andrew Cootie goes top of the charts, 46.752, and yeah, I mean, there is a disadvantage of winning the pole and being on that front row, and not going through the heats or last chance qualifiers or really racing at all this week. And I mean, I know for the past few years, I've had the Champions Provisional or top row, and it's been hard to get in on Sunday, and then all of a sudden it's 40 cars, and you haven't been on track like that in the year to really get your boots under you at the start of the race.
So now we see Brandon McKissick, newly minted eNASCAR iRacing Coca-Cola Series driver. Congratulations to him, of course. Great to see him. He's been around here for a while, and he's worked hard at it for a really long time. Since 2017, whenever he had the peak speed. But,
Kansas.
Yeah, Kansas. And, yeah, it's a really cool thing to see. I'm really happy for him as he is coming out at 4 here to start his lap.
One thing I'm interested to see with McKissick as a guy who has ran a lot of the races that we've put on, not only just in the WINSTEL Cup Series, but also like our fun events. Emily, do you think somebody familiar with the setups that you have ended up creating and that we've raced for several years, do you think that gives McKissick an advantage just kind of right out of the gate compared to some of the people who this might be their first time running a setup that you've made?
In the past, I would say yes, but this year with us being at Daytona 2011, really not much of an advantage. The cars are definitely super fast for qualifying, but realistically, it doesn't really matter once you've done a lap or two. The car's stuck in the track. It's just all about getting your line right and getting off pit road correctly.
Coming across the line because it kind of bobbles as he hits that apron, but it is going to put him at the top.
Takes it by 1,000.
It's so close.
Guess it updates his car a little bit this for this speed weeks. Typically, he's been in that 24 drill split machine that he's run since probably 2018, but looks like he's convinced William D. Norton to put a new coat of paint on that 24 car.
Oh my. Up next here is I always forget how to say his last name, but it's Hayden. Hayden's been around for a while. If anybody wants to help me out on that.
You got no help over there, Parker.
I'm leaving you hanging, man.
We all love Hayden. He's of course our resident back marker, as you can tell by the paint scheme, racing with Jesus, the Morgan Shepherd throwback. That's not to say that Hayden's not good. As a matter of fact, he almost won one of our practice races. So he's definitely one to keep your eye out for. He's got a lot of momentum coming in the speed weeks as he comes down here into the trioval to start his lap. Very steady so far for Hayden. I'm excited to see what he puts down as he runs a higher line than what we have seen before.
Yep, Hayden definitely runs on that old Joe Gibbs strategy of race in the back for most of the race and then try to pick off spots and keep the car clean as crashes happen and be there at the end. But that could really bite you because really the people up front all day are going to be the people up front at the end. And, you know, when you're racing around other people, you trust them. And when it comes down to it, you want to be people you trust to make those big moves. And if you haven't seen this big green 89 car up front all day, you're not going to trust them in the last 5 laps. And it can really hamper you with how important friends are in this draft model.
You know, you
That is
mentioned
very
that.
true.
But as Hayden comes to line to get his lap complete, and we'll look at his time when he comes across, but one thing that he's been doing, it's going to end up putting him right around 5th right now. One thing that we've seen Hayden do that he normally hasn't done is he's been racing rather aggressive in these practice sessions. Like ever since, you know, the end of last year and certainly the start of this year, just because we're a week in it, like I think we've seen a different type of aggression from Hayden. And so I'm not exactly sure if he's just going to be riding the back for most of the race. I think he's wanting to get up there and actually put on a show and show people what he can do. As we have Aaron Smith and his... I always view it as like a banana boat car. I know he doesn't have it on there, but like if Aaron isn't anything but a yellow 70 car, like something is wrong.
Definitely. I knew it was the iconic 70 machine before I even saw just how yellow it was. But yeah, I mean, back to the Hayden story. Definitely the past few races he seemed to get more and more competent and more confident with this draft model. As we've kind of had it for a year, we haven't had any real changes to the draft model for the first time in a long time, in a year. You know, last year it was a big story with the draft model changing about 3 times before or during speed weeks and us being up late Saturday night, about 2 o'clock in the morning, trying to rebuild our package. As Aaron comes across the line in his yellow submarine to start his lap in the turn number 1.
You know what? Going back to Hayden, one might say that he's gained a little bit of capability.
Certainly so, Parker.
As Aaron Smith here, down the back straightaway, running the line that I try to run, so hopefully this will be a good lap for him, for my sake. As he goes into turn 3 here, like you guys said, that iconic. Honestly, it's if you see Aaron, you're gonna see a big old yellow car as he's coming out of turn 4 here to get his lap. What's it gonna be? Oh, that's top of the charts for Aaron Smith II.
Close to a 191 average there at a 190.9645. He had a very interesting line there coming to the line. We haven't seen any guys come back up on the track as they finish their line. They always stay down there, and it does scrub up a little bit of speed, but it also keeps you on that shorter radius, keeps you from bottoming up the car, upsetting it as you go across the line. But Aaron, very aggressive, straightened up the wheel, went back on the track to get the start finish, going to keep that speed up. As this 31 machine rolls out, beautiful looking 31 machine. It looks like, I think this is a throwback to the Robbie Gordon, or almost a throwback to the Robbie Gordon Seal or Iros cars, but probably the prettiest machine I've seen on track this weekend. I don't know about how you guys feel.
Definitely a great looking car. That era of RCR was really good for paint schemes, and let me tell you what, he did not do a very... Hold up. Let me try that one more time. He did a very good job recreating that.
Very bang up job in his Stickler and Hilbert construction machine. He comes across the line to start his lap. Get across the line here at, I believe, 191, so a very good starting speed.
Yeah, one thing going back to Aaron Smith's kind of unconventional crossing of the line there. We've seen a lot of people, as I mentioned right when this started, you're going to have guys kind of sliding up as you go through the apron, but one thing that I saw with Aaron specifically is most of the time people get right next to the grass, like maybe, a car length, 2 car lengths before that start-finish line. He got the closest to the grass pretty much like maybe 3 car lengths past that Geico restart zone and then just shot it back up the track. So he had a much, not even a shorter radius. He just touched that grass way sooner and way quicker and got off of it faster than anyone else. And it was way faster than McKissick when we're talking about tenths and hundredths here, whereas you see Brock kind of staying by that green. And so I think it's going to be difficult to actually bump Aaron Smith off that current pole position unless you do that line.
That is a 46.773 for Brock Whitehead. That'll put him P5 at the moment. As up next, it's Cosman. I again I'm not trying it. Not gonna happen.
I've been told many times how to say it. I've always said it wrong, so I'll just say it wrong again. Cosman, an issue out here again. Another one of the...
You just call him an issue? Holy cow.
I hear Cosman, an issue.
Oh, no.
Cosman, the longtime painter, he actually used to paint some of my cars back in the Inter 2003 days back in about 2012, 2013. Another beautiful machine. And as we talk about paint schemes, there is a point to be made with Aaron in familiarity. Having that big yellow landmarker, people who run the same car year on year, knowing based off just a glance who you're racing around is very helpful. I know last week in A Open, I couldn't get a lot of help early on with Brennan and some of the other WINSTEL folks when we stacked the races because I was in a different car than what they'd ever seen before, and they really didn't recognize me or couldn't really catch me at a glance. So familiarity can be a very big factor when it comes to paint schemes.
I don't think it would have been an issue if there was a 83 on the car. You had 88. What was up with that?
That was a league car that I couldn't get 83 for, so maybe I'm back to 83 this week. So
Cosman rolling down the back straightaway here, that 84 car. Like you said, a hell of a painter and honestly a hell of a mod maker. He's made some great mods for an R03. It's just great to see him in this race.
Yeah, Cosman ran about in the middle of that back straightaway up to almost to that seam, and so him carrying speed, he's right at 188 right now coming out of that corner. He's run a lot higher out of these corners than other people. Let's see if he holds it to the apron here or if he slides back up like Aaron did, but this is going to be a pretty close time. Actually, that is, what is that?
100
faster.
Yep,
that's quick time for Cosman.
Cosman's the first driver in the 72s. Let's see what he... So that was actually about 700th off of what he ran in practice. The other two up front, McKissick and Smith, did not get a practice lap. So really the first driver we've seen kind of put down a comparative lap to what they had in practice.
As now we got Matt Skipper on the track. Who is Matsky? Well, here he is. Matt Skipper.
Yeah, Matt Skipper, a gentleman that I've ended up racing side by side with pretty much the last couple of years in WINSTEL.
You've been racing him, all right.
And Skipper, I think, and not only with Skipper, I think what you have to do with this package and this setup, I think you have to race aggressive, to be honest. I know it's tempting to ride in the back. We kind of mentioned this with Hayden and stuff, but I think with what this setup is doing and how these heats are going to play out, and even the race, I don't think you can really just kind of ride. If something happens, like if you're running like 20th in a pack and something happens that separates the top 8, they can easily pull away from you and you won't even get a chance to race back up there. Then you're trying to battle for the top 12 or 13, making it into the main event. I think Skipper's best bet this weekend is to just race as aggressive as possible.
Definitely. I mean, I follow the junior philosophy when it comes to play racing. I like to be up front, stay up front. I've proven that with, me, Nick, and a couple others, all at the top of the charts when it comes to lap sled and WINSTEL competition at plate tracks. Just Skipper come across the line here to complete his lap. he will go 5th on the charts. Skipper's been another driver who's been kind of finding his own lately. It took him a while to get up to speed, and now that he's kind of gotten confidence and trust in some people, he's in up front in the practice races. You see William Boisvert begin to take his lap here at the end of pit road.
He's trying to crank it over. I can hear the motor.
There we go. He's rolling. Going back to Skipper, yeah, I definitely agree with your point, Hal. He's definitely gained a lot of confidence, and he's gotten a lot better of a racer to be around, to be honest with. He's definitely made a lot of improvement ever since he's joined the league.
It does take a while.
Unless your name is Brandon Cruz Monsivice.
Hey, you know, Cruz with this new computer has definitely made a big impression.
Hey.
I'm no longer on a slideshow. I used to be a menace to society. Now I can be a menace to the leaders.
For the first time in WINSTEL history, I worked with Cruz in a race, so he's changed.
You changed.
You've changed.
We're just dropping all the inside jokes here tonight, aren't we? All right.
Speaking of that, what an awesome segue to the reason why I got the computer, that huge wreck in the Coca-Cola 400 to end the regular season in NASCAR. If you guys want to join me on winning some money, Brandon Cruz DFS.
Is he just plugged himself?
I believe he did.
Oh my.
I've got nothing to plug other than myself, so. You want to know me? I am me. You want to know Parker? He is Parker.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a crazy time in WINSTEL history, the 2022 Coke Zero 400. That whole weekend, with all the crashes and bashes, Cruz batting on back markers really paid off. I couldn't believe what I was seeing when I just showed those screenshots, and can't believe it took Cruz another 6 months to buy a computer to get off his 2003 Windows XP machine.
All right, as Will finishes that, we didn't talk about him at all. I feel pretty bad, but he drops in a 46.776, and that'll put him in P8.
Yeah, William, a longtime WINSTEL member. Back in the old days of 2003, he was hanging around the prior leagues that we had with Brennan and Tyler and all those guys. Boisvert, one of the many, many Canadians in this field. So far, top of the Canadians, it's like.
Looks like it's my time to get out there.
Oh, you're being called to the car.
I'm being called.
Parker, you wanna talk us through, or you actually want to be concentrating in here? Because I might
talk you through.
All right, I think we should all do that. Real quick with Nate Stewart, I think this car is a clean looking paint scheme. This thing looks fast.
This thing does look incredible. I don't know what Chad thinks about their favorite cars, but for me, 31 car still takes the cake. But Chad can always chime in if they want to.
Speaking of chat, thank you for joining us on your Friday evening, watching qualifying here. We do appreciate it.
You two are gonna have to fill up the air. Let me tell you, I can't commentate on this.
I was listening to what Race Control was saying there. Nate Stewart running right on that yellow line and not sliding up nearly as fast as Cosman or Aaron Smith. It seems to be that clearly everybody's watching these queue lines that everybody's running. And when Olivia, when Hayden, when Lilac went out there, the main philosophy was kind of holding that yellow, maybe a little bit off of it. But now it seems everybody's kind of migrating to that middle lane down that back straightaway.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer to hold it down pretty close, but there is definitely stuff to be gained by moving up the track a little bit and letting the car kind of roll up. We'll see Nate Stewart go third on the charts, knocking McKissick down to fourth. Still the top two, Smith and Ionescu. I've been corrected by chat, so thank you, chat. See Parker coming out here. Parker, you want to talk to her, or are we going to have to talk you through it?
Well, let me tell you what, coming down here, I'm going to try to keep my left sides just above this seam right here. Try not to get too terribly close to the wall. I'm going to shift up to fourth here. And just try to carry as much momentum down the back straightaway as I can. Try to keep the wheel still and perfect.
They go on board with Parker and his number 63 A House School drafting machine, very similar to what Dave Blaney ran in the 2001 Cup Series.
Yeah, we got two Blaney throwbacks in here. I think Sean's running one, and I, of course, am running one.
You gonna make you laugh here?
No. Try to hug that bottom line through 1 and 2. And I'm going to try to drift up just ever so slightly out of 2 here. That's about where I wanted it.
See the RPM is climbing to the back straightaway up to almost 8,200. He's going to enter 3 and 4 here for the final time. Parker comes across and complete his lap. Let's see how he goes here. Third! Oh, Parker. You need just a little bit more, buddy.
That's for my man Dale, you know.
Yeah, you know, always third for Dale.
Mm-hmm. Just like I wanted it.
See Sean Peleg on track now. Sean has been a long time WINSTEL regular, and for a long time was considered one of the great play racers. He worked with, you know, we had the classic WINSTEL rivalry of me and Sean versus Nick and Brennan play tracks every single time we went to a plate track. But that was on the old draft model. On the new draft model, Sean has struggled a little bit, and his results really haven't been where we sort of expect Sean. I mean, of course, in the 2001 EA Howe 500, he was leading about 500 foot from the line, and then was not leading as he got to the line by mysterious circumstances.
Of course, an all-time WINSTEL moment, to be honest with you.
Legendary.
Just stay where you are. Don't worry about a thing.
As a second Ryan Blaney throwback comes to take his green flag, let's see what Sean does here.
Ryan, you know, oh my.
One thing I want to mention about Sean, I don't know if you guys can see it from here, but he has a smile bigger than Texas. I've never seen a man this happy in this car. If we can get a view of his current helmet, this is just amazing. Look at that. Look at that man. That man is having fun, flying down that back straightaway, smiling at Daytona.
The classic Lego head helmet, a staple of Sean Peleg for the past 4 or 5 years now, and also the Dale T-shirt, fire suit, classic WINSTEL. Sean rolls through 3 and 4 to elect to stay right at the bottom as he comes to the tri-oval and goes to the apron very early. Let's see what this pays off for him here as he comes to the line to complete his lap.
Ooh, I got him! I'm happy about that, let me tell you. Sean puts in a 46.743. That'll put him P4 for now. As let's see who's up next here. Justin Melillo is up next.
Yeah, Justin Melillo, a guy that you have probably seen if you race in any league, any big event, if you view any broadcast on iRacing. The man who seems to be involved in nearly every single big event across the iRacing service, bringing his 53 car out onto the Daytona banking. One thing I want to mention here is we have 47 drivers fighting for the top 2 positions here. The top 2 obviously get qualified into the front row of Sunday's main event, but this is the most cars that I can remember joining us for a qualifying evening here.
Yep, you mentioned a lot of Justin's accomplishments too. Also a contributor for Traction.gg, as well as a lot of the screenshots that iRacing uses in their official stuff for Coke and all that. He does a lot of that stuff, so very well-rounded, very connected within the community and within sim racing in general as he comes around to start his lap. Very high up to the wall there through 3 and 4.
Here he comes, coming to the start-finish line. A little high through the tri-oval. I'm sorry, as he runs that kind of that's a kind of the traditional line through the little short chute there, as he brings it right down to the bottom. A little aggressive, might have touched the apron a little bit there.
We were talking about experience earlier with Brandon McKissick, kind of on the opposite end of that. Justin, I believe this is his first time in this car at this, not this track, but like in this car with this setup, and I think we're kind of seeing that right now. Kind of took an awkward entry into the lap. May have hit the yellow line. We kind of see him wobbling a little bit. Like this might just be a situation where, you know, he had a few practice laps in qualifying practice, but other than that, brand new to the setup.
Also might be a little bit of a connection issue for him. As we'll see here, coming to the line, what's it gonna be? That's a 46.806, and that'll put him P14.
Yeah, a lot of folks over the past year have gotten really used to that next gen, and when it comes to Daytona, the there really isn't much that you do besides hold the car wide open. But still, these cars are in qualifying from about 10 mile an hour faster than the next gen is, as well as being heavier and kind of way further back aero balance, where the car doesn't really want to turn as great as the next gen does. The next gen handles really well, it's really pointy. This car is more sluggish, you got to really wheel it into the corner and make it do what you need it to do. But that's very hard to get used to if you don't put the practice in to really figure that out.
That's definitely true. As that's even apparent in the race. You know, granted we are going about 10 mile an hour faster in the draft in this thing than the next gen, but you honestly start to develop a little bit of a tight sensation going into the corner in our race trim. Can you talk about that, Hal?
Yeah, I mean, in race trim, you know, we absolutely, you know, go about the same thing we do in qualifying on single car runs, about 188 to 192, but when we get in that draft and you get that big run in the back straight, we can be going about 212 miles an hour sometimes off the current 3 and 4. And with the way the car is and how much, you know, the draft model has the air simulated, you will get aerial push and you can knock the fence in if you're not careful and, you know, lifting or trying to get off the bottom to the top mid corner. So you got to really, really time out your runs and really methodically try to drive this race car. It's as much as the handling track as it is a just pure draft track.
Now, Emily, normally when I hear that in broadcast, it's usually just trying to fill the space and everything. But as people have seen in the practice sessions, like, we actually have a tight car here on this flat Daytona. We've seen it in the practice sessions, like, specifically out of turn 4, we've seen a lot of people actually slide up and hit that outside wall exiting that corner. And so when we actually say, and Ryan Hill barely takes it in the top 5. We've seen a lot of people pretty much not expect this car to get that tight, especially in the pack, and that's kind of why we're seeing the outside line be dominant, and we're seeing, you know, guys get tight just because they haven't been used to how this car performs with the setup.
Well, honestly, the outside line is probably the most dangerous because the inside line, you kind of hold it down there and know what to expect. It doesn't really drift off the corner too much, but with the way the banking falls away and the amount of speed you carry up top, it's very easy to miss that white line and put your right side a little bit too high and just knock the fence down or follow a car into it. You know, I am guilty of it. I've done it a couple times. I know a couple of great guys like Sean have done it. You know, I know many of us have just knocked the fence off of 2 and 4 just because you're going so fast and the tires start getting hot. I mean, it's not that the car is tight. It's just that there's so much air that you just lose all your downforce and you're going so fast it just slides on you.
Here we see Michael Sturgill advertising the this track's kind of sister track, Talladega, in a very interesting livery with a bunch of caution tape on it as he comes to start his lap here. Sturgill about 192 entering turn 1. That's about the average speed, but he's running a little high there in turn 1. We'll see. Maybe he tries to get a better exit off the corner to get some speed down the back. But,
yeah, he definitely tried to arc it down a little bit there off of 2, but I don't know if that's really what'll help you. I think best bet is just to wrap that yellow line and then let it drift off of 2 or hold it right on down to the bottom. You don't want to really be changing. I see misses the corner a little bit on entry there.
And it's honestly not that it's an easy thing to do, honestly, because you just mistime your turn in just a little bit and you're gonna shave hundredths off your time. As he clocks in a 46.771, that'll put him P10.
Garrett Lowe in the 06 car is up next, a man that we've seen be stupid fast in previous qualifying, and as we say that, we see Alex Kolnick's going to be the next car after here. Garrett Lowe, Alex Kolnick, drivers who have shared the front row, previous pole winners, previous top 2 qualifiers, and guys who are going to compete for the win come Sunday.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
Garrett.
Chad agrees too. You know, Kaufman in here saying that Pole's coming up next. So I don't know if he means Garrett or Kolnick. I mean, my answer to that would just be yes. Garrett, pretty sure one of these two will be will be the pole sitter. Kolnick's going to get a chance to put down a lap and practice. Garrett was top of charts as he comes around through 3 and 4. Start his lap. Let's see how he does here.
.190 at the start finish line here. We'll see what it is coming into turn 1. 192. That's about the average number. So good lap here so far. Hugging that yellow line, absolutely glued onto it.
A little bit different line than what he ran in practice. In practice, he had let it drift out to the wall a little bit sooner. He kind of held it down there and let it drift up, and he's going to do that same arc he did before, where he goes basically just kind of lazy entry in the 3 and 4 to kind of help keep that speed up.
Still absolutely pinned onto that yellow line out of turn 4 here. We'll see what it is. Coming to the line on the apron early. It is quick time for Garrett Lowe, a 46.721. That'll put him top of the charts.
Not by much, so. It's about 100th off of what he ran in practice, and only 5 thousandths faster than what Cosman was able to run earlier, as Alex Kolnick takes to his run.
The heat is
all right,
on.
Here we go.
22 car, bright red, probably the most pressure of anyone. We've said it before that last year took nearly 200 laps of practice to get that pole position for the second year in a row. It's the main story going into qualifying here. What is Alex going to do? I want to thank all the viewers right now for spending your Friday evening with us. We're over 60 viewers. Thank you guys very much. Alex, I want to see him do it a third time, but I feel like something's going to happen. It's one of those situations where a little bobble. I see him coming in about third fastest today.
That is a bold prediction here, as Collins coming down the back straightaway into turn 3, getting ready to start his lap. Different paint job than what I feel like we normally see Alex in. He's usually in a bright gold car, still the number 22, but
I believe you're
very
in
different look.
500. I remember the red car. As we have Reddit in the chat saying Lowe was zooming a little bit of adminship bias, SMH my H.
I'm laughing too hard. Did you really just say out the letters?
You gotta do it to him sometimes, you know?
Just how it be.
I see Alex Kolnick zooming in the back straightaway here off of turn number 3. A very, very shiny car all the way around. Even the grill is spec mapped out on his machine.
Oh, he's coming out of 4 here. What's it gonna be at the line? Is it gonna be a repeat? No!
Cruz was right!
Guys, listen. I do this for a living. I'm telling you, Brandon Cruz DFS. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, and Patreon. Thank you very much.
Devious laughter to Parker as well. Next on the track will be number 164 of Joey Masowich. It is Anime Machine.
Wait for him to get rolling here. There he goes. Very interesting livery, that's for sure.
You know, I'm jealous. I was hoping I would be the one with the most anime stickers on the vehicle. I'm being corrected. I don't even know how to pronounce that, if somebody else can. I like this car. This car looks awesome.
The, what is it, Doki Doki Book Club, or whatever it is, Literature Club.
You know what? I'm just gonna say SMH my H.
Probably said it all wrong. Don't care. I will take my L's when I get them.
All right, chat. Okay, listen, because
Not as big as all of the Kolnicks, but hey.
Listen, I'm a huge fan of anime. I'm gonna go down and say Sword Art Online, good anime. You can hate me if you want. Really, really good. Not gonna lie. I would die on that hill that is a good anime.
I'd say I wish I knew what you're talking about, but I don't, as Joey Masowich. If that is how you pronounce it, I forget. Coming through. Oh, he clipped the apron a little bit out of 2. That'll slow him down a little bit.
Really, the debate is not there. Best anime is definitely King of the Hill.
Whoa!
It's only because you hear your name in it like every other episode from the hall monitor.
Well, you know.
All right, Joey coming here for to finish his lap. What's it gonna be here? It will be 46.815. That'll put him P19.
This has really gotten chat going here.
Oh no.
Hey, why do you think I brought? I'm telling you, we need some engagement, and I know how to get there. All right. Evan up here with a car that he's driving, inspired with his, not necessarily dad's memory, but running this because his dad was a huge Junior fan. His dad recently passed away. We've seen Evan be extremely fast in the practice sessions leading up to this week. I think Evan has a really, really good chance of racing in the top 10 in his heats, and I would not be shocked to see him late in the race, be there in the top 8 on Sunday, and trying to put himself in position to win the event.
He's definitely a dark horse, I would say, because like you said, he's been very fast in the pre-qualifying practice sessions. As a matter of fact, he was only 1,000th off of Garrett Lowe in this session's pre-qualifying practice. So we'll see what he can put up here. Running the higher line down the little short chute there. Might have turned in a little late there. We'll see.
Got to give a quick shout out to Christian Budd for helping Evan with this paint scheme, and really everybody involved in WINSTEL of helping everybody. Like, we have banners over the roofs. We've had a lot of help with paint schemes from everybody in the community. Nick, Christian Budd. I know, Emily, that you've helped with people with your little decals with the Dope Depot and red mist and everything like that goes on these cars.
Let me tell you, son, I don't think that was Emily.
They were inspired by me.
As Evan puts it, P4, 46.735. Not quite what he was looking for, and that's a real shame. I was really hoping he'd pull something off here to get in front of Garrett. But still not a. Yeah, Phil's lighting him up here. Good old Phil. I love me some Phil. Phil's my guy. Great
Phil
teammate.
is definitely my dark horse pick to win this year. Phil has been around WINSTEL forever, and has recently joined the Penske gang of Jose, Sean, and Brennan, and really is always up there at plate races, but really hasn't had the luck at the end of these races. But through the years, he's gotten just faster and faster and gained confidence, and now he's one of my favorites to win every week, and definitely the people I look towards to work with on Sunday.
Oh, definitely. Phil's a great person to work with out on track.
I got a question for you guys. Who wants a fun fact?
Fun fact, go ahead.
Fun fact, WINSTEL 400, Philip, hate to bring this up, has the unfortunate fact of running the least amount of laps in this event's history. And that was one lap. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. He had an internet issue, fell out right at the start of the race, only completed one lap. He made the race, though.
I believe that was 2020. I remember it very vaguely, but I remember he was not a happy camper that night.
That was, yes, 2020. That was, his CPU couldn't keep up with the cars on track, so he was out there. He was on track for about 10 to 15 laps, but it only scored him one lap because this was not timing him. And so he pulled off after that and was not a happy camper as he comes around 3 and 4. Very, very tight line on the bottom. I think this is going to be a good lap.
I agree. We'll see at a 3 and 4 here. If it doesn't end up being a good lap, he has an excuse. He was adminning the pre-practice qualifying as he turns a 46.743, same lap as Sean Pelleg. So a good lap by Phil.
You know, when scoring just flashed up on the broadcast there, it showed 0 mile per hour, wasn't scoring him yet. I was very scared that the same issue happened again and we just jinxed him.
Well, the Penske gang looking like they're going to stay together. Chris Hancock out on the track right now. You know, this is a paint scheme. If I was a spotter, if I was helping anybody out, this is a very easily identified paint scheme.
Very bright with the orange, white, and I don't know what kind of blue. That's just a blue, you know. That's just blue. Not like navy, not like midnight. That's just blue, and that's a very nice blue.
Park right here with the Blues as Chris Hancock rounds his way through 3 and 4 to come to start this lap. One of 2 Hancocks trying to get to the pole tonight. His brother Ben has been working with him for a while now in WINSTEL. Always at the front. Very good combo of drivers.
Chris here to start his lap. A lower short chute than what we've seen from most people. We'll see how that works out for him. He's coming into turn 1. He kind of drifted up the track there a little bit.
Taking that Garrett low arc down the back straightaway. I think a lot of people will have learned this after watching. It's kind of one of the things of being one of the early people to go out is people can watch what you're doing and adjust their lines as needed, or experiment. Or if he heads off into turn number 3 and 4 to finish his lap.
Coming across the line, Chris is going to put it on the scoring pylon right at, where are we?
P18.
Oh boy, I had to kind of scroll down there.
All right, here he is. I'm going to say it. If it's not going to be me that wins, this is my pick. Dylan Roberts out here in the drink water machine. Of course, a throwback to Dale Jr.'s 2001 Pepsi 400 win.
Yep, Dylan, well, in the 2003 season, will round out me and Parker as the DIE boys.
And
Steve
the
Park,
dang old DIE
Dale
boys.
Jr. and Michael Waltrip.
Can we get another onboard and look at this helmet, and then can we say DIE boys together?
Oh, no. No. Oh, no.
Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen,
There
come
he
on.
is. It's old Dale. He's got the Dale helmet on. He's got a nice suit and tie.
My best
Dylan Roberts here to start his lap. Pretty good run up to the line here for Dylan. Running that higher entry, it looks like.
Dylan, the first Nova Scotians out here on track. Always faster at the plate tracks. Always a favorite to win. He's won a couple of these the past couple years. Hasn't had the big luck in the 400 yet, but expect Dylan to lead lots of laps and have a great time up front. Put on a show for all of the fans watching at home in the WINSTEL 400. Dylan always has what I call a magic bumper. I don't know if it's just me or us or the whole field, but Dylan can really, really take a push and get a push with the way netcode tends to work out, and really, really is beneficial to him.
Definitely, as here he comes to finish his lap. It's going to be a 46.746. That'll put him P10 at the moment.
Everett Lane on track right now, a man that I have raced with going back nearly a decade on the iRacing service, back when CORA, the Championship Online Racing Association, was a league. The Extreme Motorsports, several leagues that just are kind of defunct, not even here anymore. Everett's been on the service for a very long time, and I'm happy to finally see him in the WINSTEL 400 weekend.
Definitely. Another contender for scheme of the week. That dark midnight black car with the little chrome stripes on the side of it and flames. Looks very mean going down the back straightaway.
Everett coming out of turn 4 to start his lap here. Staying a little higher than what we see most people do. Usually people try to get on the yellow line through the trioval. He kind of arced it a little bit. Again, running that middle line through the short chute, and kind of missed the entry to turn 1 there a little bit. Hopefully he can recover some speed down the back here.
Everett ran a 7:47 in practice, so we need to pick up about 200th if he wants to have a shot at the pole tonight for the front row.
And that is honestly a very difficult thing to do with the way these qualifyings are, flat out. And it's very hard to gain any amount of time, really. But hopefully Everett can put one together here. Pretty good line through 3 and 4 here. Keeping it a little tighter than what we've seen some people do. And coming across the line, it's going to be a 46.770 for Everett Lane. That'll put him in P15.
Very respectable, but also down about 300th off of what he ran in practice.
Currently right at around halfway through the amount of drivers in here. As I said, we have a grand total of around 47 drivers. Hey, I'm going to be next, so I get to round out the bottom of the tier.
Perfect. As this number 3 car of Brian Baker III rolls on the track. Another beautiful looking machine, this flat black and red 3 car, sponsored by Ace Shock.
And of course, the Chase Elliott paint scheme from, I guess that's 2 years ago now in 2021. Very nice looking car here on the service, as Everett running a little bit higher than what we've seen some people run through 340. Of course, you don't want to get too close to the wall. That wall arrow will slow you down a little bit. He runs a pretty good line through there as he's going to start his lap here.
Yep, Brian Baker ran a 7:48 in practice, so about 1,000th off of what we saw last time at Everett F. Lane. Again, need to improve about 2 to 2.5 hundredths to get up to the front of the field if he wants to lock himself into the show tonight. He heads in the back straightaway, off in turn number 3. Again, goes about that halfway point, puts those right sides on the black seam down the middle of the back straightaway, and gets a solid arc into turn 3 and 4. Runs a little bit high on entry. He's been kind of, as I noticed him on this lap, he's kind of been back and forth, kind of seesawing between being about a foot to a foot and a half off the line. That'll really scrub off your speed as he comes across the line. Complete his lap. Brian will come across at a 7:46.738. Improving off his qualifying or his practice time to put him 6th, but still not good enough for the front row.
Very good lap time for Mr. Baker there, as here he is. Brandon Cruz Monsivice out on track. He was burning it down a little bit there.
You know, I got it. Didn't spin out. I'm accomplished right now. I think I'll probably end up being
Cruz, I guarantee you 2 weeks ago you would have been backwards.
I wouldn't even been in the session. I couldn't even load it.
Yeah, you would have been. You would have still been loaded in, dog.
Everett's car would have killed my CPU, so I'm glad I'm no longer in that.
Chad, let's go ahead and take a guess at where Cruz qualifies here provisionally. I'm going to say P13, lucky P13.
I say P27.
I might just disconnect before I come across the line.
Yeah, probably a good idea, honestly.
Got a couple P10s in chat.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's awfully kind. I'm so sorry about that. You know, as you come through this section of the track, you know, I wish I could do like a Tony Stewart, Darrell Waltrip ride along, but I don't even have to get to the wall to scare anybody. Like if they're in the car with me, they're gonna be screaming just like DW at Eldora. So, you know, I'm gonna try and follow Garrett's line here. I doubt I'm gonna do it, but it wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it would be. I'm trying to do everything that Garrett did. We're probably not gonna be able to get it. Kind of wobbling, talking a lot, but we're gonna do the best we can here.
Once again, go ahead and predict Cruz's finishing order here as he comes around through 3 and 4. I'm saying P13. Parker, you said what? P27?
Nah, I'm saying P15.
What about the paint scheme? What about my little anime stickers on the back?
Nope. That is P20 for Brandon Cruz Monsivice. I was closest. Just thought I'd point that out. Not a bad lap, Cruz. Hey, Cruz, it could have been a lot worse.
Could have. It's been worse.
It could. Yeah.
Now see James Holzer take the track. This is conclusion of his first year in WINSTEL. He joined last season for the 2006 events, and he's been very, very fast. Won a couple races and wasn't shot for a championship. So look out for him on Sunday. Although plate races haven't been too kind to him in this package, so.
I don't want to say losing. Sorry, I don't want to say losing the championship in a heartbreaking fashion, but couldn't really get a chance because he couldn't make the last race. It was a real bummer to see because Holzer had been very fast all season long last year. Won how many races? Was it 3 or 4? He was definitely one of the most competitive guys out in the field. Here he goes. He's running a little bit lower than what we've seen some of the faster guys do.
Yep, out here it is. I believe this is a Kyle Petty throwback from the 90s, if I remember correctly.
I think it used to be a peak car.
Yeah, so this car definitely has peak speed.
Uh-huh. Shout out Brandon McKissy.
That's a deep cut of lore there, Parker.
Man.
There's probably only about 4 people in chat who will understand that piece of lore.
What about Sean Ping?
Sean Ping is in chat. You might just understand it. As James comes across the line to finish P16 with 7:59. James also didn't get a lap in practice, so
Oh.
Only 2 drivers in the top 10
Here
right now
go.
didn't have a lap of practice, so really that practice time that we had earlier is really paying off.
It's my dog, diggity dog, Jose Salas Jr. here.
Jose Salas Jr. looking to make the field this year. Didn't make it last year. I was the last
I wonder
car
why.
in. I mean, I blocked him to the grass coming to the end of that LCQ.
We were beside ourselves. That was the highlight of the weekend.
I was really
Last year.
beside myself. I was like, I cannot believe Brandon Cruz Montevious just made this race. 13-year-old computer and all, man. I was stunned.
I mean,
Flabbergasted.
look, man, the
Flummoxed.
power of an overclocked RX 470 and a processor, I don't even know what it was.
Cruz, you had a bulldozer processor, right? The classic heater machine.
Yeah, it was a hamster, man. It was rough.
A hamster, oh my.
They take the green flag there, and I believe this is a new car for 2023. Is dark
Almost looks
Penske
like
era.
it almost looks like a Davey Allison throwback to the classic Robert Yates machine back in the early 90s. So was it coming out of turn 2 here?
More of Joey Logano was the real intimidator.
Oh no. No, do not say that.
He might be the one in the back of that Penske train protecting his fellow Penske
Oh no,
teammates.
no.
Do I need to bring up how you and Brennan caused the biggest wreck in WINSTEL 400 history at this point, Emily?
Me and Brennan.
What do you mean? I don't remember this at all.
What track was this, Cruz?
A couple years back. That's going to end up being, that's going to put
2020?
Jose
That
Salas
wasn't our
Jr.
fault.
15.
We got turned. We got taken out.
That sounds like
No, man.
excuses. We're going to step away right fast for around 90 seconds for a quick commercial break, but thank you guys for sticking around. Join us, and we have just over 20 cars left to run for the pole. All right, we come back to qualifying. It is Sean Butler on the track. We had asked McGee to send the car so we could come back to a car on track, but it's McGee, so we're still waiting for a car to crank and everything. But either way, I'm looking forward to this. I think, Sean run into an issue. He just went over the microphone, said 1 second.
I'd say what I want to say, but I can't say it on TV. So,
All right, Ward.
I got a few choice words for him, but I can't say them on TV.
We were talking over the
classic
break.
Pennzoil machine that he was in last year, a couple of years before.
Yeah, we were talking
Another
over the break that
Another iconic look.
Let me get this in real fast before Sean rolls off. This is the first time we've caught anybody leaving this. You need to get everything at this right here. Trying to get up as close as you can to the orange cone, trying to get a good burnout. Like I'm telling you, pole is one here. We need to go back and see how good old Mr. Garrett Lowe got here, because I think he got the pole from here.
Yeah, one thing to consider is how much wheel spin you want off of pit road. I mean, I think I've found that I can spin the tires all the way to the second gear if I want to, but also I can get a run with no wheel spin and try to see what is the most beneficial way of doing it off pit road.
Sean coming down the backstretch here. He and he's known as kind of a play qualifier. He was known as a play qualifier there for a little bit. We'll see if he can ring in some of the magic.
Sean, definitely one of the favorites in chat right now. As he comes around through 3 and 4. You notice, if you notice this shot on pit road, it looked like his rear wheels were off the ground. This car actually, in both race trim and qualifying trim, drops about 4 inches in the rear. And with the way the rear geometry is, you gain about 30 seconds of rear toe, rear skew off to the left. So when he comes down the back straightaway here, if we get a long shot, you'll see that left side of the car is going to be sticking out to really get that sport out of the air in the corners, like they used to do back in the classic old Gen 6 days.
I would of course say the name of the setup, but I also cannot say that on TV. So
it has drop in it.
That is that's for true. Let me tell you, it also has something else in it. So Sean's coming through 3 and 4 here to complete his lap. See what he can do here. Kept it tighter off of turn 4 here. What's it gonna be at the line? That is a 46.745. That'll put him P10.
Get that on time P10 from several other drivers. An identical time of the 7:45. As we see the number 16 machine of Luke Crutchfield join the track. Very new member to WINSTEL, but also has been very competent, very quick in these test sessions we've been running lately. Luke had a time 7:57 in practice, so he's going to need to pick it up about 3 or 4 hundredths if he's going to want to have a shot at the pole.
You know, I'm a bit jealous. You just called Luke competent. I've raced with you for almost a decade, and I've never even heard a compliment that well thrown my way. Another gentleman we have up here in the booth, a guy writing notes, a man who's going to be up in the booth calling the WINSTEL 400 on Sunday. Derek, I see you writing a lot of notes. You're trying to get all the stories, and as I said, I'm going to give you some stuff to read and stuff entering the Sunday event. But what do you think so far? Have you really been in an event like this to where just it's an event like this big, of this proportion, with this many people here, with no entry fee, with a payout as big as it is? Like, what is your opinion so far?
Definitely a unique event. You guys are definitely having fun with it. You can tell by the just excitement in your voices, you know, while looking through qualifying and we're watching Luke come around here. You guys are having fun with it. It's the 11th year of it. You know, you guys have evolved this event successfully. You know, different tracks, different cars, you know, whatnot. So different names, right? Yeah. So I'm excited. It's been a good night. You know, obviously right now Garrett and Cosman are our pole sitters as Luke comes around here. I'm excited. Of course, you guys got a full slate tomorrow as well, right?
That we do. We got the 2 heat races tomorrow. I'm not sure off the top of my head what time they are, but then after the heat races, we have the second chance race. That'll be everybody who didn't make the race from the heat races. They'll be competing in that race, and then I think it's the top 10 make it through from that. And then tomorrow, before the main event, not tomorrow, Sunday before the main event, we have the last chance qualifier. That is usually a race to behold. It's a bunch of people being very aggressive for a very few amount of spots that are left in the field, and it's always a very fun race to watch.
One thing to note too, with the aggression factor you brought up, is you only have 2 strikes this weekend. So if you were to cause an incident in your heat or in the last chance qualifier, what have you, you would only be able to cause, well, you shouldn't cause any incidents, but you would only have 1 strike available to you in the 400. So after that, you'd be one and done. So you got to be very careful with the aggression and not push it too far, because there are consequences that'll carry over the entire time you're in this weekend when it comes to causing incidents.
I would honestly be very unsurprised if somebody doesn't use both those strikes up in even the heat race. Really, it's very easy to overstep the line. If I'm being honest, I've learned a couple of times, so it'll be interesting to see who can rein it in at the right time and who can really let it all out at the right time.
I was noting here as we're watching, you guys have noted the lines here around Daytona. Jonathan riding a little higher than you guys like, I think, would be a fair statement.
Yeah, I have definitely noticed that he's been running a little bit higher, really letting it drift out towards the wall. That can scrub speed, but it can also help you hold momentum depending on how you do it, and he does it pretty well. He goes P7.
Definitely the highest we've seen anyone out of 3 and 4 there. Also ran a little bit high out of 2, about a car width, but definitely the highest I've seen anybody run out of 3 and 4. See Nick Doucette take the track, another beautiful machine. WINSTEL's resident painter. Chad, go ahead and drop what your favorite scheme so far has been, if y'all been keeping tabs.
Interesting development here. Nick Doucette riding the bottom on his outlap here. We'll see. He did that the other day in the practice session, and he went TOC, so we'll see here what he can
Maybe
do.
Figure something out.
Trying something.
He's got some cheese, as how I believe you're up next. I don't know if you saw.
Oh, perfect.
Let me throw some stats out your way for Nicholas Doucette. Between Nicholas and Brennan McGee, those two drivers have been in the top 5 coming out of turn 4 the most of anybody in the history of the WINSTEL 400. Neither of them have won it. I believe Nicholas has been involved in an accident that was not his fault, coming to the line at least 4 times. I can think of 3 right off the bat. He has been up there the entire time. He will be in the top 10 on Sunday. He is going to compete. Just can luck go his way? If we were looking for people to be first-time winners, I think McGee, I think Nicholas Doucette are the main contenders, because those are the guys who have been up there the most. Emily, same with you, but like Nicholas Doucette, a man who's come so close and yet still hasn't won this event.
Cruz, I tell you, you're going to want to watch coming across the line, because Nick Doucette is absolutely hugging that yellow line. Even here out of turn 4 and down the short chute, he's going to go down to the apron early. This is going to be interesting. This might be a pole run here, as it's... Oh my. That is shocking.
I think...
P20.
Yeah, I think you guys noted how he didn't get up in 1 and 2 on the warm-up lap. I think that's your... Because you're right, Parker. You're right, Parker. He was really killing it as far as hugging that line, but I think the culprit's going to be that line there.
All right, as up next, we got a lady in the booth, Emily Howe here. She's coming out on the track. She's, of course, doing the opposite of what Nick Doucette did, because she saw that didn't work. I
decided to go up the no wheel spin, run off a pit road, take the Garrett low, line up against the fence.
Very interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. We're going to try some things. Try to be very smooth off of 4, and then slowly work my way down the third finish line. Going 190 now. Let's see.
Yeah, 190
right at the line.
At the line.
Yep.
Right in that middle line. And letting it come down a little bit. And just hugging that yellow line. That's what you really got to get down here. Just trying to cut that amount of time in the turns, or cut the amount of distance in the turns, as he let it really ride up there down the back.
Try to get all the speed I can down the back straightaway. Ever so smooth in the wheel. I feel like I haven't braved it all this entire lap, so come across the line. I'm going to try to tickle the grass here, but not actually touch it.
I think you can say that on TV, actually.
Definitely not an optimal run there, but good enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, a miracle has happened, as I have somehow, someway went faster than Emily Howe on a play track.
By 4/1000 of a second, Parker.
Yeah. Holy. Yeah, it's very tight there from about, oh my, like 8th through hell, like, sorry, apologies for that. From 5th really through 17th, it's nearly within 100th of a second, maybe 0.013 seconds. It's a very tight margins.
Why did you apologize for that H-bomb when that was the third one in this broadcast?
What?
I guess Chris keeps note of how many H-bombs we say.
I'm crying right now. That's hilarious. I'm only because I don't know why
That's
that one
the first
caught you.
one I've caught. I'm gonna be real.
As Justin Egan rolls around the top side at 3 and 4 to bring it to the line to start his lap in this very obviously Dale-inspired machine.
On my screen, I just see a blank 57 car, so I don't know.
Well, look, Emily, you're wrong. This is Austin
Yeah, I'm seeing the
Dillon.
big 3 on the door in the
You thought the row number
broadcast.
3?
Yeah, like
It's the real number 3. Let me tell you.
Can I say, by the way, just a small note, like, in the last build update, iRacing made some more changes to the spec mapping. And I think to those of us who are veterans of the service, which I think all of us in this room are, first off, the idea that spec mapping exists sort of blows some of our minds, I think. Because I think all of us started iRacing before spec mapping was even a thing.
Yeah.
But now that it even exists and now they've went and made the changes, I know Cosmo's not happy about the changes they made in the last update because it made more work for him. But it's a cool feature, and you can see it really well on this Dale-inspired car here.
It's
Yeah,
Justin
definitely
Egan. Sorry,
clear
go ahead.
coats. Justin Egan, 34th on the charts. Not a great showing. Definitely very high in 3 and 4 from what I saw. But yeah, the spec maps have been, as we see Brennan light it up off the exit of pit road here. Brennan might have a shot at the pole here. He's been very fast all of speed weeks in terms of his qualifying times in practice races. But yeah, spec maps definitely very interesting. I remember back when, before PBR, how just the cars always looked like glass, and now past year or two we've had spec maps. Now we have the acrylic clear coats. I kind of figured iRacing with that blue channel being at 255 that they would end up using that as something as the 0-0 channels behaved as they did pre-spec map for the other two. So I preemptively set all my spec maps to 0 blue, and it kind of paid off. I didn't have to adjust anything once the build came out, but I'm sure for a lot of painters who hadn't adjusted that, it was probably a nightmare with the way that spec map looked afterwards.
So here we go, Brennan McGee coming out here for his qualifying time. Brennan, also really a dark horse when it comes to plate qualifying. People don't really expect it, but he always ends up front. And as he's running that higher line down the short chute here, turning into the corner very nice and smooth, getting a little high there in the center, but he's bringing it back down and hopefully carries some speed down the back straightaway.
I wish, in a way, people, the viewers could hear what we hear in our ears, which is race control trying to get people to line up correctly in line. Just that little bit by little bit they have to go through. It sounds like a really bad commercial for Home Depot or Verizon Wireless or something. I don't know.
The old Jimmy Mayfield commercial with the keep backing up, you're good.
Yeah.
Especially Tony Stewart's car.
I bet Tyler is having a great time doing that.
He's having a blast, I'm sure.
Brennan McGee!
He did it!
He got it! The same exact time as Garrett Lowe. I can only imagine what the comms are like down there right now. As Brennan McGee puts it, P1, I told y'all he's the dark horse, and he has done it.
Now, this brings up something interesting. Brennan McGee is locked into this event by fact of promoters provisional. Him and Christian Butt are the only two locked in this year. This will take away a spot from other people trying to make it in through the heats.
That is 100% true. It'll be very interesting to see if any two other people can knock him off the top spot and secure their place into the WINSTEL 400.
Of course, Brennan, very, very happy in chat. Whoa! Did you see that
Did he get in
too?
the wall? Did he get?
Yeah, I think he might have hit the wall.
That's
Not
on
the
the
way
right
to
side.
do
Get
it.
less drag.
I'm telling you, this car is tight. We didn't even get out of third gear and we're in the wall.
Now, if Dustin gets pole here, you guys would be like, oh my gosh, we can hit the wall and still get a pole. So maybe Dustin knows something. Probably not, but I'm mostly kidding. But yeah, that was weird.
Beautiful Legend of Zelda machine. very high out of 3 and 4. Waited a long time to get down to the yellow line as Dustin goes around through the tri-oval. Gets up to 191, 192, barely in the 1. So I don't know that this will necessarily be a lap that sets the world on fire. He ran a 46.770 in practice, so definitely has some time to gain. About 500 if he wants to knock Brennan and Garrett off the front row.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of wobble out of this car. Something I wondered earlier as we were watching too, and I thought about a little bit, is sometimes when you see a car wobble like this, it could be that someone has their force feedback set incorrectly in this car. Almost to the point where the force feedback is driving the car more than the driver's driving the car. Because we saw him wobble a lot, I think, through 1 and 2 there.
That is a very good point. You know, these cars have a lot heavier steering boxes than the next gen does. So if you have it set to what you have in the next gen, you're going to be really sweating if you have a strong wheel. I think it was 32nd on the board with the 46.798.
I've experienced that in the 87 car, because obviously that lacks the steering capabilities that these modern cars have, and the wheel tends to be a lot heavier. And I know I was holding on for dear life most of the time whenever I drove that car, and I was wondering why. And then I lowered the force feedback, and I could actually drive the car where I wanted it to. So that's a very good point it's a very good point, Derek.
I feel like a lot of iRacing members aren't aware there's that setting, so you can have individual settings per car, but it is a useful setting at the same time.
Definitely.
As I watched Gabriel Marlanuccio down the back straightaway here in his Coors Light machine.
Gabriel, what?
Marlanuccio, Sterling Marlin, who's hard machine down the back straightaway.
Oh, I did not pick up on that.
I know Gabe's name, don't worry.
Yeah, I was about to say, hold up. Pump the brakes here.
Gabriel Maraschino Cherries.
I feel like as a sideshow, we should just have Parker read names, like, as a sideshow.
No. I know Gabe's name. It's Gabriel Mauricio. Gabe's, of course, a long-time member of WINSTEL. Great to have him here.
The resident Brazilian. The very new paint scheme. He's run that same blue paint scheme for years and years, and as I brought up earlier, that familiarity, you know, if I saw this car out on track, I would definitely not think Gabe compared to his blue car that's very, very recognizable.
Yeah, it's certainly a big change. I know there's a lot of Dale vehicles in this field, and man, I would be worried if he was behind me. So
do not.
You know.
Oh my God.
I knew it was coming.
Somebody get this guy out of here.
One thing to note too is Gabe's typically in a Chevy, and we have seen the pointy nose of the Chevy be an issue in practice. So I think Gabe made the switch to the Ford to get some more plate cheese, be able to bump harder with his. Obviously, Gabe, great plate racer, but suffers a little bit being from Brazil with the included or increased latency compared to the most of the North Americans that we have.
As here we go. Up next, it's Tyler Head in the brand new Munchos car. Of course, a different look for Tyler. He's usually running a car promoting the Atlanta Motor Speedway, which is, of course, his place of employment. Yeah, very, very different look for him. I believe he said he used to run a car like this back in the day, so it's a little bit of a throwback for him. And excited to see what Tyler Head can put down here for a lap.
This car definitely has one of the coolest looking spec maps of anybody in the field. That low shot of that red, that really nice red as it kind of blends in with the metallic and the lights. This Munchos machine.
I was about to say, like, had I known this car was coming, I really wasted that whole spec map conversation like 5 minutes too early, because
No, because that guy wasn't the real 3. I know.
This would have been the correct here. We're gonna see him come around here and take the line. As I forget which one you said. I think it's either Cruz or Parker earlier said about 190 is about the speed everyone's at the line. There's really no variance there, and if there is, it means you're probably not going to qualify well. But yeah, good line here so far.
Besides, like, what line they're running, it's really hard to tell what's a good lap and what's not. Like, I know a couple years ago, whenever we were driving the 87 cars around Daytona 07, you could really tell what was a good lap and what wasn't by the speed at the line, mainly because those cars were a lot harder to drive, as Tyler Head comes off of turn 4 here to complete his lap.
Yeah, we really need the old Fox tracks here to really tell what's a good lap and what isn't.
I agree.
I mean, look at the top 15. The top 15 is separated by 0.002 of a second. It's minuscule amounts of lap time that you're gaining here, or losing here, so
Yeah, it is hard to tell. I think the only time you can really tell is if someone doesn't get the warm-up lap correct, or if you just see too much of a bobble out of the car is really the only signs. Other than that, we're just kind of sitting here waiting for it. I was kind of curious though, Parker, like as the person in the room who's qualified the highest so far, would you have rather gone later? Would you have rather your car number came up later to try to make a Q run? Do you want to go earlier and get it over with? What was your mindset about that? I was just curious.
I'm a guy who likes to just get it over with and put a time up on the board. But this year, honestly, it was kind of a philosophy change. I'm kind of disappointed I went earlier because it seemed like the track got a little faster as practice went on. So I was hoping to maybe get a later lap here, but obviously only one car on the track at a time, so it doesn't really rubber up that much. So I guess it might not have made a big difference. But as we see here, Dylan Alt on track. He's I believe he's a Coke Series driver, if I remember correctly. As he's looking here to snatch a pole for the WINSTEL 400.
Yep, Dylan Alternative, always very fast in these cars. Every time he shows up to a WINSTEL event, he's always up at the front. No scheme yet. Typically, he has a very, very nice spec map and scheme on his cars, but same old black and red, just no paint yet. I guess it'll be revealed for Sunday. Gonna save some money and some sponsors. I guess he clear coated the buff, clear coat, buff, sand, clear coat, buff, like Junior did in 2014. So, see if it pays off for him here.
You know, and earlier you guys were asking my overall impressions. I mean, I helped, with the...
Hold the phone here. We got a new quick time. Dylan Alt puts it on pole. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
you're okay.
We got a new quick time.
I was going to say, that's good. I was going to say, one of my impressions of WINSTEL, and I saw this last year as well, is the amount of talent in this league is really top notch. I mean, obviously, you guys, maybe not Cruz, but you guys, lots of talent. I mean, obviously, most of these names I know. Parker, I've known of you for a while. Dylan, you have the Doucettes in here. You have, Coke drivers. So to see someone like Dylan Alt come in and put in the time is both surprising and not at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, these are talented drivers. You're not surprised he put that time up on the pole on the board like that. But a 46.717, that is what, 4,000 faster.
Yeah, that's for the Brennan.
I was a C math student, so you got to think about it for a second.
I was too. Trust me.
I just go by what it says on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Like, Derek, don't worry. I flunked first grade. There's no way.
First grade, yeah, I can tell, buddy.
It's a rough time, man.
Baby.
Is it because that old computer's still printing out your homework, or what happened there?
Yeah, I was turning my stuff in a fax machine or something. I don't know.
Cruz said the first thing at school for typewriter.
Cruz had dial-up internet in like 2015. Like it's tough out here.
As you see, the classic Zoo Plates machine of Ryan Doucette out here.
An absolute classic.
Absolute classic.
What a classic car.
I love this car.
I believe Ryan Doucette also got the nod back up into the Coke Series again after being off last year.
That he did. Very happy to see that. Another WINSTEL regular of the past years.
And it's so cool to see him do that, because just if you think about I say this seriously, he makes time for things like WINSTEL. I couldn't imagine the time and the effort that goes into just making Road to Pro, Contender, and now Coke. Like, that must take so much time. The fact that these guys still make time for WINSTEL and have fun with it is really awesome to see as well,
Just goes to show you how important WINSTEL is to these people and how much fun it actually is. That, you have this incredibly high strength of field, and, our top 10 every week is filled with people with black stripes past and present. So very, very competitive league and a lot of fun week in and week out as Ryan goes 23rd on the boards. Not very quick, surprisingly, out of Ryan.
The Parker, as our next car lines up, I have a pop quiz for you. Ready?
Oh, no.
So since you said you were a C student in math, and then they're showing here on FTF right before the new year, we did the Rectangle 500, and we had to break a tie in qualifying by the 5th decimal point.
Holy.
Please tell me what the 5th decimal point is.
That would be 100,000.
Oh, look at you. Good job. Maybe you're better than a C. Did you have to Google that?
No.
Oh, okay. That's good job.
You see, I say I was a C student. I just didn't do my homework, so.
I would have called it a millithousand.
A millithousand? Okay.
All right. Well, Ben Hancock here is on the track. This is our second Hancock of the night, if I remember right.
That is
Correctly,
correct.
it's his brother Chris Hancock. Where did Chris qualify? Let's see. Battle of the Brothers here.
34th.
Okay, well, he doesn't have much to contend with anyways. All he has to
Bars
put up
low.
a 7.
Man, since the break, you guys are brutal. I didn't know this was a roast. This is crazy.
Is that a roast? Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
It's mostly
to be
been
fair,
it's mostly
I
been
do wanna
directed
point
at you.
I do want to point out
He
that
really
in
has.
qualifying practice, he ran a 7:31. That's one of the top times that we had down there in qualifying practice. So look for him to put up a good lap time here.
I definitely agree with that. He's had a pretty wheel here here during his lap. He's drifting up a little higher than what I would, but we'll see if he can make some time with it. As he sets a 46.745. That'll put him in P16.
One of the few cars I don't recognize as a throwback either.
Usually, and that is honestly pretty strange because I feel like usually Chris does run some sort of throwback to a Mark Martin machine or a.
Yeah, I said that partially so you guys could correct me. Go, oh no, but no, I don't recognize it.
I believe I believe this year he's changed to, I believe it's 412 Racing with him and his brother in the same
Okay.
sponsorships with different colors on their cars. Let's see the number 34 machine of Corey Does anyone want to take a shot at that last name for me?
yeah, Parker, can you say that?
Bodanot?
Bodine?
Better than I would have done. Hugging that outside lane, and
I don't think it's Bodine.
Bodine not.
hey, he didn't get in the wall, so he has that going for him.
He's not in the catch fence yet. So he's
Parker,
doing
do you
better
want to
than
tell us
at
what the
least
back
one
bumper
Bodine.
says?
The spoiler says this driver is prone to wreck. And
What's the back bumper say?
Hold up, let me.
You're gonna bait him into a TOS violation.
Nah, we're not. I'm not
No,
doing
it's
that.
not
I'm not doing that to Zach.
What, you guys don't like the
I ain't
American
reading that.
flag on
I
the
ain't-
roof?
I'll have to bring that up. Cruz. Speaking of Todd Bodine, he has a cue ball headed roof with no number up there.
I know,
I don't
man.
think. I don't think we can. Is that allowed?
Cue ball headed?
Yeah, cue ball headed roof with no number.
What a fool.
He's
Might
doing
have
it.
to get with Brennan on that one.
I'm assuming
Yeah.
that the American flag is clear cutted to where it'll deflect air off that back spoiler.
Of course. Of course, you know, my
Across
crew
the
chief
line.
824. That'll put him
I'm-
P42.
We are down to about 5 cars here. Left to take a time. And
Kyle Benson in a car
Benson.
that
Kyle
you
Benson.
are not going to be able to miss on the track. I really like this green and black going on here. I think it'll stand out really good in the pack. As we
yeah.
get down to the final 5 Forest drivers tonight, I just want to give a quick shout out to, and I'm probably going to miss people here, but Brennan McGee, Tyler Head, Christian Budd, Emily Howe, Alex Bates, everybody who's been in charge. Like, people think that this is just something like, oh, we kind of think about, yeah, sure, we have it every year, but we've been planning this, working on the setups, working on the schedule since really June of last year. A ton of effort goes into this event. So thank you guys for tuning in to FTF.GG, spending your Friday with us, watching the qualifying. I mean, this is our big event of the season. Sure, we have our year-long league, but I mean, this is truly our big event,
Yeah, most
I
certainly.
do know.
I mean, you talk about the effort we put in, as of last year, we were still working with iRacing in terms of trying to rework the draft model to what we have now in the next gen in this car, as compared to what later released with us and a group of several others kind of spearheaded that whole project. And I know last year for this race, we were kind of scrambling and scratching our heads because the week of the race, we had a massive draft model change that we had to prepare for and spend about 40 hours that week just rebuilding the setup from scratch, essentially. Provide us with some good racing on Sunday. So this year we've had an easy job where, there haven't been really any changes to this car now that it's out of commission with the next gen taking over. So we've had pretty much a standard baseline of this car for the past year, which means that we've all gotten very, very good at it. We've all had a very comfortable time with it. So it's going to be an incredible race on Sunday.
Kyle Benson sets a 46.767. That'll put him P29 on the charts. And I forget what I was gonna say. It was something along the lines of, oh yeah, it looks like the if you look at the member site, it looks like the drastic patch, they missed us by a day. There's another patch coming out. We'll see what's coming out on that. Hopefully there's no draft model changes, because this draft model currently is, I'd say, the best of all time on iRacing. It's a blast to race.
I want to echo real quick what Cruz said for a second too. Like it is sort of, for those of us who have been involved in this event or other events that get planned throughout the year, the amount of work that goes into an event like this is massive. The amount of back end work is tireless. So yeah, a big shout out to everyone involved. A big shout out as well to Justin Prince. He'll be here in the booth with me on Sunday. The amount of hours that man puts into prep for broadcasts can also be daunting to some of us. But yeah, this is a cool event. I'm excited to kind of be around it this weekend and kind of take notes and watch and observe and be officially part of the broadcast on Sunday. Yeah, this is a cool thing.
Yeah, it's
and Parker, I'm not sure for what you probably deserve a shout out as well. I know that Cruz didn't mention you, but I'm sure you deserve a shout out.
I'm just here having a good old time, you know. I try to be here all most nights, hanging out with everybody, you know, just having a good old time. Mainly making fun of Cruz, probably. That's the main thing.
I just want to transition to talk real quick for just a lap or two as we're watching Jeremy go around. For those maybe who aren't watching, obviously this is a WINSTEL 400 process this weekend. The season starts, what, a month later, right? I don't look at the calendar, but a month later. And you guys this year are mimicking the full 2003 season, right?
Not quite the full 2003 season. We're doing 24 out of the 36 races.
Right, but you're gonna try to follow more of those rules.
Yeah.
You know, have more of an authentic, and that's a cool event in and of itself. Like defined leagues in iRacing. I mean, you can't like throw a stone without hitting an iRacing league nowadays. But the fact that you can like find one that's mimicking the rule sets and, you know, is dedicated to the paint schemes and the teams and the rule set, that's a cool event you guys put on throughout the year. So that deserves its own amount of praise.
Yeah, definitely. That's pretty much all Christian Budd and Brendan McGee's brainchild. They put in so much effort over the past 2 years. Really revived WINSTEL. WINSTEL, you know, with the way the V7 tire model is and the lack of dynamic track, and kind of was falling off, and we were losing membership. And we decided actually at the end of 2021 to finalize and end the league and just call it one last time. And then about a month later, as is always with WINSTEL, as soon as we go away, Christian Budd comes back and says, "Hey, I have this great idea with a full like 2006 season," and we went with that. We rolled with it. And we've had a great time with it ever since. It's been a really great revival, as we see Davin Cornelius out here in the 77 machine. Beautiful paint scheme, that deep purple with a great spec map in this big machine.
I'm kind of sad you said his name. I was going to put Parker on the spot and see if Parker could say Cornelius.
I know Cornelius.
Okay. Get a great zoom in from Zach in the booth.
Yeah, also this
spaghetti.
Speaking of Zach,
a great paint scheme.
Speaking of Zach, by the way, Zach puts a lot of work as well. I think Zach's going to have I think I'm putting Zach in the spot here. I might get yelled at. Pretty sure Zach's going to have a graphic set to match the 2003 era. But just like he had one for 2006 last season. So Zach also puts a lot of work in the background. He doesn't like praise, so it's always fun to do it because he gets a little squeamish. But Zach does good work in the background as well as our director.
Excellent work. Puts on a great broadcast, and this should be our last car on track.
Should be our last car on track, yeah.
Number 07 of Bryce Dossier.
Yeah, we kind of lost.
I stole it off you there, Parker, because you meant to say that last name.
Yeah, we kind
I
of
would have
lost
probably
track
said
of time.
Saucer. I'm going to be real.
But I do want to congratulate Dylan Alt right now, because right now the only person who can be moved out of the top two would be Brendan McGee if Roger can manage to do that. So Dylan Alt confirmed to be a top two starter in your WINSTEL 400. Real quick, just to give you the summary of the weekend, tomorrow 7:15 Eastern time will be heat race number 1 at 8:30 p.m. It'll be heat race number 2. The last chance, or the second chance race will be at 9:45 Eastern tomorrow. The last chance qualifier is at 5:30 Eastern on Sunday, and then 7:30 Eastern on Sunday will be the WINSTEL 400. 160 laps around here for a purse of $1,000, $225 being paid out to first. Yet again, no entry fees for this event. You just had to show up, sign up, and be here.
Going back to the heat races, I believe we'll have some guest commentators in that too. Obviously, the two of you in Heat 2, and myself and Tyler Head in Heat 1. So that should be a fun time. always look forward to commentating races. Qualifying, it's been a bit of a challenge for me, trying to find time and trying to fill the area. Hopefully we won't have to do that tomorrow. As how do you say the last name again?
Saucier.
Saucier.
Don't quote me on it, but that's my best attempt at a green white checker.
That would be what I would. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Oh, got a little loose.
Oh no!
Through the tri-oval, as it not good enough for pole. Dylan Alt will be on the pole for the WINSTEL 400 alongside Brendan McGee, snatching up one of those lock-in spots.
That is going to be a big storyline in the next few days.
Does that add a spot?
I don't know how exactly it works.
I think it adds one. It doesn't take one away.
It should add a spot in the
It
last
adds one to whatever heat he would be in. Yeah. It should add an instant spot.
I don't know if it adds to the heats or it might just add to the last chance qualifier, but this does change the format with only 3 lock-ins now, with Brendan stealing both the front row lock-in and the provision or promotional lock-in.
Well, thanks for ruining everything, Brendan.
Gosh. I got a few choice words for him. About can't say him on TV.
The heats are going to be incredible too this year. The last couple of years we've had some kind of lackluster physics to kind of make the heats kind of a bit of a parade, especially last year. But this year with this package that we have now, it's going to be absolute insanity. You cannot ride, you cannot wait around. If you want to make a move, you can go to the front. If you want to tanny away from the field for a lap or two, you can do that and break the draft. So we're going to see some wild action with people trying to stay up front and also get their way up front in the heats over the next 2 days.
That's probably a really interesting strategy talk to have tomorrow in the broadcast about how people approach the heats. Because Emily, you said you sort of take the junior approach of just being up front. There are other drivers who prefer to wait in the back and wait for those wrecks to happen and to maybe kind of magically find your way there at the end. So that's an interesting philosophy change that I think is different amongst super speedway drivers.
Definitely. And we'll, be able to have all the discussions of that tomorrow as we continue on our speed weeks. The heats tomorrow starting at 7:15, and then second chance qualifiers after those. Again, our Sunday schedule of the last chance qualifier and then the big event, WINSTEL 400.
I am looking forward to the weekend. I'm looking forward to the heats. I'm looking forward to the main event on Wednesday. Once again, thank you, everybody in the booth. Parker, Emily, Derek, thank you for joining us. Zach, thank you for making everything work behind the scenes and putting on this great show. And everybody viewing FTF.GG tonight, spending your Friday with us, watching the pole sitter, Dylan Alt, and his, row partner, Brennan McGee, claim the front row of the WINSTEL 400 for Sunday. I'm Brandon Cruz Monsivais saying thank you for watching, and we will see you guys tomorrow for the heat races.